Hello and welcome, and today we're talking about the letter M, and more specifically what happens when you put that in conjecture with what is otherwise a practical, luxurious, full-size SUV. Welcome to the AutoToday show. My name is Dipayan Datta and behind me is the BMW X5M Competition, the most powerful BMW SUV in the world. So design updates on the X5M Competition are subtle, but being an X5, they're still pretty pronounced. For one, you get this massive grille that is blacked out thankfully, so it looks a little more sedate. You get a redesigned bumper which is sharper and now features air vents for ventilation and better aerodynamics. Moving along to the side profile, you get these massive 21-inch tires in front and 22-inch tires at the back. But let's take a moment to check these amazing alloys out. M cars always have the best alloys, and they're set on blue M calipers with 390mm ventilated discs up front, which is massive. Now to cool the tire and ensure that the air flows right, you get another M badged vent over here. You also get aero approved double wing mirrors. Now at the back, what you get as a base is still an X5, but of course you get the sharper bumper with more sinews, and of course the beastly resistance of the back are these double twin pipes that really add to the presence of the X5. But that aside, most of the updates and most of the design tweaks have been kept pretty subtle. So the X5 can still pass off for your everyday practical SUV, which underneath it all, it really is. But let's not waste any more time, get in the driver's seat and see what this X5M is really capable of.
Thumb the starter and you're assaulted by an angry murmur emerging from the twin pipes. It's not the most subtle thing about the X5M Competition, I'll admit, but then again, neither is this Toronto red metallic color that our test car is wearing.
Okay, and now we're inside the new BMW X5M Competition, and straight off the bat, you really don't feel like this is the performance car. You get all the bells and whistles, all the luxury you can imagine, of course with the sporty intent declared, as you would see from these carbon fiber accents, this carbon fiber center console set against of course brushed aluminium and top of the line leather. I mean, it has this really great leather aroma, which I think is something that really appeals to me or in the cabin of the X5M. Aside from that, luxuries, you get both electronically powered front seats with massage functions. You get two LED screens at the back, this LED screen over here which is touch screen, and you can use the toggle switch as well. Overall, the X5M from the driver's seat is an incredible place to be, and it really brings out, and I think that's what sets apart these massive luxury SUVs with twin turbo V8 engines. It's the fact that you can have a fast car, but you can still be in a luxurious car without really having to give up the practicality and the luxury of an SUV. Anyway, that's it from the inside. I'll take you for a quick tour of the back, and then we turn her over and see what the BMW X5M Competition is really all about.
In the back, aside from the unique upholstery, the X5M is almost identical to its road focus sibling, which means you get the same space with two LED screens and individual aircon controls. Although it's worth noting the cabin ride quality at the back is compromised to a certain extent on account of the low profile tires and firm suspension setup.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the BMW X5M, the fastest BMW SUV on the planet. That's 625 brake horsepower, 750 Nm of torque, and a 0 to 100 time for a 2-ton SUV of 3.7 seconds. So let's not waste any more time. We've already put it in track mode. We've turned everything all the way up. Let's really try what this car is capable of. Oh man, that's awesome. That was that 100 kilometer, 120. Whoa, that's too many numbers happening. Yeah, it is scarily fast. 625 horses, and they all make their presence felt. I mean, this thing is so quick and so deceptively quick. I forgot that I was in an SUV. This feels sports car to me. Anyway, so let's get back to the real driving and how it performs with the suspension in Sport Plus, the steering in Sport, brakes in Sport. I'd say this, the BMW comes with a staggered steering setup, and that makes it really, staggered wheel setup, and that makes the steering really light and easy to use. I mean, it's intuitive, and there is no wonder why BMW is considered the most dynamic of the German manufacturers. It shows with this X5M competition that they know how to control the weight, and they know how to control the moving masses around the car. And to give you a car with this kind of performance and this size is absolutely incredible. Oh man, listen to that exhaust. Now the X5M competition, as you probably already know, gets a 4.4 litre twin turbo V8 that makes 625 horsepower and 750 Nm of torque. But it puts that power down through an 8-speed Steptronic gearbox, and I have to say this is one of the best automatic gearboxes that I've ever driven in my life. I mean, it's so intuitive, it asks no questions when it's in manual mode. If you want to put the gear down, it just does, and that's something I really like. As for the flappy paddles, I mean, it's almost telepathic. Okay, now another thing that you're probably worried about if you're buying a 625 bhp SUV that's capable of doing 250 kilometers an hour and 100 kilometers in under 4 seconds, the thing you're probably wondering about is, will she stop? Well, BMW have equipped the X5M with some massive brakes up front and at the rear, ventilated discs. So, as a result, you got your foot down and you need to stop, and that means any rear stops. And that was the auto ignition of this one.
The Steptronic gearbox is so intuitive and direct that it seems to be almost one step ahead of you. Something that comes in handy if you want to direct those 750 Nm of torques towards a small gap in traffic. And speaking of traffic, you're probably wondering at this point what it's like to drive a 625 bhp 2-ton SUV through the Delhi capital's traffic. Well, wonder no more.
Okay, so now we're in the X5M in traffic with everything turned to soft, and we're trying to see whether you can really use the X5M as a daily driver and whether it will be imposing to drive a 625 bhp 750 Nm of torque SUV through traffic. And I am happy to report that with everything turned down, the X5M is actually quite sedate, it's quite comfortable. I mean, the tires are really low profile, so there is going to be some feedback into the cabin from the tires if you're going over paint strips or you're going over sudden sharp bumps. But aside from that, the throttle feels intuitive. It's not as sharp as it is in sport mode, of course, but it feels intuitive enough to know when you have to put your foot down. The steering is light and comfortable, and for the most part it's a really nice, comfortable, confidence-inspiring SUV to drive.
Overall, the X5M is everything you'd expect it to be and a little bit more. Even in the face of competition like the Cayenne Turbo and the Audi RSQ8, the X5M competition still makes a very strong case for itself. It is an M car, and that it is without a shadow of a doubt. It's got the mad performance, the almost physics-defying dynamics, while still being reasonably forgiving and easy to drive. On the other hand, it's still a practical SUV with plenty of space and comfort to use every day. At 1.94 crores, it's 13 lakhs cheaper than the Audi RSQ8, and I think that is incredible value.